Momento is an infrastructure provider. We offer services for caching and event messaging in gaming and media and entertainment industries. So things like origination, chat inside of a game. My name is Alan Helton, and I'm an ecosystem engineer at Momento. An ecosystem engineer at a small startup does a lot of different things. It is a multifaceted job, and I enjoy it a lot. APIs are super important at Momento, and we have a couple different strategies that we employ to really make sure that our customers get the biggest benefit possible from our services. And Postman is pretty much always my first choice. We offer an HTTP API. We also offer SDKs as well if you want a more integrated and tight experience. Postman really helps weave a story that's hard to do otherwise. A collection will allow you to lay out all these different API endpoints in a way that makes sense that a developer would actually use them. Let's take an example. If you go to a furniture store, they might just have all the couches in one row, all of the nightstands in another row, all of the beds in another row, and you have to think, what's the best way that I could put things together? If you're anything like me, you're not going to put them together very well. Contrast that with something like a boutique store where you're walking down the street and you look inside and there's a window display that has everything set up in the most iconic, picturesque version imaginable. That's what Postman's doing with the public API network and public workspaces. It allows the publishers to actually create your story and tell you exactly how to use it in your way. The first 3 months after being on the public API network and getting discovered, our usage climbed a tremendous amount. And I'm not talking about 2 or 3 additional requests. I'm talking 46% month over month, 32% month over month from the previous, and 36% the month after that. And we're talking about climbing a huge amount of usage that we wouldn't have had otherwise because we were discoverable and we're verified, so people actually can trust that it is us and we are who we say we are. Getting the blue verified checkmark on Momento's account was probably the experience that I worked with Postman the most on. The partnership was actually really nice. I worked with probably 3 or 4 different people, all associated with the API network, who had different specialties. I even talked to the head of the API network a lot during this process, which made me as a customer feel really special. To me, there's not really a competitor that does a fraction of the things that Postman does. The thing that I've just been enamored over is all the stuff they're doing with AI. The fact that you can query a whole bunch of different LLMs without having to navigate to and from a bunch of different code is amazing. But I also really like the work that they're doing with MCP, the Model Context Protocol. There's a lot of churn in the industry right now with AI and specifically with MCP, but Postman seems to have a bead on exactly what's important with it. And they built a way to go and test MCP servers, and they even have a way to go and generate them yourself, which is a huge accelerator for people, and it's an enabler as well for people that are trying to stay relevant inside of the screaming fast AI industry.